Shall we play a game?
Welcome to the blame game. The goal is to pin the blame on who would be most responsible for a default on the national debt if the debt ceiling is not raised. At stake politically is the reputation of the two parties, three if you count the Tea Party, and so far they seem a lot like Republicans. At stake economically is the full faith and credit of the United States.
We will raise the debt ceiling because the alternative, as every expert economist agrees, would be catastrophic for our economy, for our credibility around the world, for the bond markets, and for the world economies.
Speaker Boehner said the other day that fail to raise the debt would be irresponsible. This is how he put it. If we were to fail to increase the debt limit, we would send our economy into a tailspin.
Not doing that would have calamitous, catastrophic, disastrous effects on the economy.
It would be financial Armageddon.
There is little doubt that this is a serious crisis.
Everyone around here knows what will happen if we fail to raise the debt ceiling by August 2nd deadline. The United States will default on its loan payments.
What are the ramifications of not acting on this on a timely basis for your companies?
You know, Congressman Larson, I think it would be devastating to the world economy.
There is no responsible person that would take any risk that we allow the world to start to fear that the U.S. would court that tragedy.
The Tea Party refuses to acknowledge that there is even a problem.
This is a misnomer that I believe that the President and the Treasury Secretary have been trying to pass off on the American people, and it's this, that if Congress fails to raise the debt ceiling by $2.5 trillion, that somehow the United States will go into default and we will lose the full faith and credit of the United States.
If one of the sides actually threatened to vote not to raise the debt ceiling, they would be inviting blame. Asking for something in exchange for something else is bargaining. A threat means that the people have stated that they are willing to vote against the measure and have the country suffer the consequences. The simplest system for assigning blame is to charge the opposition with responsibility, whether this is the case or not. So for Democrats, Republicans will be held responsible. For Republicans, the Democrats will be held responsible. The Tea Party doesn't even know there's a problem, but they will blame everyone but themselves. The simplest way that increasing the debt limit could be accomplished would be by a vote on raising the debt limit alone. Attaching strings to this vote to use the measure as leverage to get their way makes a measure more complicated than necessary for passage.
This is the only leverage you have, and the language you use is exactly right, Larry. If we're going to just kick it down the road, you're going to see members, conservative members, not support increasing the debt ceiling.
We've got tremendous leverage on not increasing the debt to get a lot of other things done that we want done.
What we really need to do is cap entitlement spending, and you can only do that with the leverage you have with the debt limit increase.
Chris, just as we saw happen this week in Washington, there comes at time leverage moments here, a time at which the White House and the President will actually capitulate to what the American people want right now.
My prediction is not a single one of the 47 Republicans will vote to raise the debt ceiling unless it includes with it some credible effort to do something about our debt.
The desire to use the debt limit to force some necessary and difficult fiscal policy adjustments. But the debt limit is the wrong tool for that important job.
Holding the country's credit limit hostage seems unnecessary in that every penny we're spending now is pursuant to a spending bill that virtually every Republican voted for.
In the end, if the Republicans make good their threats, they are undoubtedly responsible for the consequence of their actions. The failure to raise the debt limit is a direct consequence of their use of the debt limit as a bargaining tool. If the debt limit is not raised, the Republicans deserve the blame they should rightly receive for their inflexibility and ignorance.
I will not support an increase in the debt ceiling.
This is the only leverage you have.
We've got tremendous
With the leverage you have with the debt limit increase.
Not a single one of the 47 Republicans will vote to raise the debt ceiling.
It would be financial Armageddon